Charles, it was a tense moment there for a second because everybody knows I don't think you've ever been late to anything. So, with the combination of the State Department advising Americans traveling abroad and the unexpected non-arrival of you, Charles, people were rightly concerned, but good to see you're well, and it was just a minor scheduling mishap. How are you today, Charles?
Yes, very sorry for that consternation problem. I'm doing very well. I don't want to say exactly where I am, but I spent almost 12 hours, well, I should say 10 hours on the water today, in some of the most beautiful scenery I've seen on Earth. It really was amazing. But I'm back to Earth, and God, it's so disappointing. I leave HQ and I leave New York City on October 6th, and and I'm not going to stay glued to New York City just to avert Armageddon,
Right.
But I leave October 6th, and I land in Dubai, and it's Armageddon, the beginning of
Well, and we
Armageddon.
won't reveal that you're observing these beautiful waters of Pandora as you travel through the universe here. But joking aside, Charles, things are escalating. There was a giant riot in Brooklyn last night. They're saying pro-Palestinian because they want to make the kind of the intellectual distinction between supporting Hamas, which is an obvious terror group that raids music festivals and takes college girls and little infants and kidnaps them and then sends Facebook messages and things to their grandparents to terrorize them. They don't want to conflate support for terrorism like that with support for innocent Palestinians who are being oppressed, but yet they fail because they're out there chanting things that are Hamas slogans like this, "From the river to the sea," which is a chant that is describing how they want to kill every Jewish person in Israel, wipe them out. And let's face it, if you're not speaking out against a terrorist attack against a civilian population, whoever the perpetrators, whoever the victims, you're supporting the perpetrators. That was a historic crime. And Charles, today in Spain, Palestinian supporters, according to the article, I say this is Hamas supporters, have attacked a Jewish-owned hotel, putting up signs and decrying. This is Crystal Nacht, as it's known, in an international scale playing out over a month.
Well, and in addition, I noticed earlier, and I think there's more to it now, that Tucker Carlson has put out his latest episode saying what we said in the moment, what you in particular said in the moment, that the George Floyd story is complete rubbish.
Yeah.
And we saw in 2020, in particular, the ways in which these quote spontaneous demonstrations, BLM demonstrations, erupted, and I think a coordinated fashion all over the place. I think the tactic of whipping the pro-Palestinian mob up at the slightest provocation is similar to what we saw both with BLM and with COVID and elsewhere. And so the Palestinian question is a very, very deep question, and it goes back a long way. But and I don't know that there's a simple solution, because if there were one, it would have been tried by now and put into place by now. But the fact is that if you're going to fight a war, the basic concept is there should be uniform combatants on both sides and fair game to take out the enemy until somebody wins. That's not what these people are talking about doing. That's not what any thinking person should embrace. That's not what the United States should be doing with Blackwater. That's not what Russia should be doing with the Wagner Group. And so there are a lot of things that need to be sorted out outside the 50 U.S. states and the U.S. territories. And it would be nice to think that the United States had the freedom, the luxury, and the finances to address every single problem around the world, but we clearly don't. And thanks to this Nimrod and his bunch of incompetent boobs in the Biden administration, and frankly, the Obama and Clinton alumni and Bush alumni, the finances of the United States are teetering. They're in deep, deep trouble. And the only reason that markets in coming days and weeks may climb on the equity side is the suspicion that central banks can't keep reference interest rates high. Other than that, our federal government, Biden wants to spend another $100 billion in theory, or
105.
more.
Yeah.
105. I mean, he's throwing money around like I suppose when you spend your entire life getting shit for free,
Yeah.
you think that it's easy, just 105 billion.
Well,
I'll take
let's talk
10%.
about that idea for a second, Charles, because the other thing that's come up amid this Joe Biden provocation of World War III, or maybe not provocation, but drive towards it, is this $200,000 check written by Sarah and James Biden to Joe Biden. All along, for the past, let's say 6 or 7 years, Charles, the most tenuous, frankly, bullshit evidence has been used against Trump. Rumors of hookers urinating on a bed. This guy said something to that guy about Ukraine while he was working over here. And they've said, oh, there's no evidence of Joe. We've got this $200,000 check. Now, Charles, I get it that you operate from a financial standpoint at a level that most people do not. And I'd like to speak to the most people right now because you know what? At 21st Century 3D, there were occasions that I saw checks and deposits of this amount. But for me, when a client would pay, it was never $200,000 in one check. But when some huge amount like this comes, people know what I'm talking about. When you get like the biggest check you've ever gotten in your life, someone who's in the position of needing to borrow $200,000 from a family member, that's weird. I think most people are going to agree that you could borrow $2,000 from your brother and it could result in a relationship-ending argument about, oh, now I can't pay for my truck and I can't go to work, so your daughter could get braces, give me the money back, blah, blah, blah. No one's writing a check for $200,000. Let's say you've got a super rich brother and you need to make payroll and your business is not an investment, but because your brother loves you, he gives you $200,000. You might pay him back $5,000 this month, $7,500. We did well last month. Here's $10,000, $12,000. No one's paying back a loan in a single $200,000 check. And even if he did, what was this loan for? Where did he get the $200,000 to pay it back? What is going on with this?
Well, I would even, I know you like to use analogies, as do I, and I like to think about this in a slightly different context. I mean, at least with the Kardashian family, some of those people do actual shit and sell actual products and services.
Right.
Plus they have a television show. I mean, with the Bidens, name one member of that family that has done anything legitimate. You got Frank, Frank is the one who's on gay dating apps, even though he's married. You got James Biden, who seems to get his business is getting all these contracts to perform services, even though he's not qualified to do anything. You got Hunter Biden, we don't need to beat that dead horse. And you got Joe Biden, who's a lying plagiarist. There's no decent reason to be cutting checks of this magnitude. I mean, $200,000 after tax is a lot of money to most Americans. To put that figure in perspective, go into that consumer expenditure survey, and you do the decile income stuff. We've done it. We don't have to do it now, but you go and look at that. Rich families by income standards don't get $200,000 in after-tax income per year.
Right.
Like the top 3%, or maybe the top 5% or something like that. So this is incredibly suspicious. And you're right to point it out that in the case of Trump, that thing where Trump slipped at West Point or looked like he was going to slip in those new shoes, immediately invoked the 25th Amendment. Biden is, how many times has he fallen up the stairs, uttered, mumbo jumbo at critical moments in meetings or a press conference or in the limited number of Q, and nobody in the left is saying, oh, 25th Amendment time. So the double standard here is revolting. And, right. And, and another thing, the $200,000 check is one thing, but I think I sent a number of hours ago to you this story about how the they put two and two together. Now, the second beach house, I thought the Rehoboth beach house for 2.75 mil. I thought that was something he'd had for a long time. No, he bought that in June of 2017. And you may remember that 2017 is the suspicious year. I did that American Thinker piece about Celtic Capri. We did several shows about Celtic
Right.
Capri,
But he paid cash
right?
for the house. Who does that?
Well, very rich people do that, but this guy in the I think it was the 16 cycle when I think he was musing about Trump's finances the first time, and he had decided not to run for president I don't know why. Probably was told he couldn't. Um, and at one point, he made the comment. I think, excuse me, the he was talking to the press that. That he didn't own a stock or a bond. This is in
Mm.
2016. How does
Yeah.
somebody like that get $2.75 million in cash? And through 2016, the douchebag, frankly, had sorry for that, had never worked in the private sector, as far as I remember. Right. So
It's crazy.
there's no legitimate way. And that he came up with 2.75 million. And frankly, I think he probably overpaid for the house. And the various
But
deals
wait a
that he
minute.
got.
Hang on that a second, Charles. Overpaying for a house sounds like a good way to get the buyer to maybe say, this seems like a crooked deal, but I like getting 2.7 million for my $1.9 million house.
Exactly. Yeah. And the other point is that it's unfair to just bash Obama. I mean, we can go back to Clinton, and we can go back to Williams and Connolly and their practice of arranging for quote transition from for public servants into the private sector. But how did Biden position the various deals that seemed to come together and generated, according to his tax return, 10 million bucks? How did what kind of pre-positioning occurred prior to January 20th, 2017? And of course, we won't know because we can't get access to all the emails from the Barack Obama presidency because, of course, those are being screened or whatever, or preserved by Barack
Digitized.
Obama. Yeah. So this is, I honestly feel as if there are no grown-ups in any room in the Western Alliance. We've got a bunch of people preening to get into the good graces of Klaus Nazi Schwab and his insect restaurant business, and the Great Reset. But there isn't. They're all lining up to get the special suits I suppose they're going to wear with the New World Order, the Doctor Evil suit or whatever. But
Oh my
where
God.
is
Wait, Charles, look at this. Oh, I was looking for a funny graphic to bring up for your insect restaurant comment. We've got a business here, Brooklyn Bugs. Another reason for me to dislike Brooklyn. We are edible insect ambassadors. Joseph Yoon.
I
Yeah, I
mean,
don't know.
whoever's working on that business plan, yeah, look at that person.
That's
Whoever's
Joseph
working
Yoon,
on
I
this,
guess.
yeah, that Joseph Yoon is Joseph Picky. I mean, the guy's crazy.
Now,
It's
wait a minute. What
crazy
is the
land.
Explorers Club? Is this the thing that eats endangered species? What is this?
No, the Explorers Club is different than the insect thing. The Explorers Club is a real club. It's
This guy's a member
and
of it. The insect ambassador is proud to be a member of this.
Are you kidding me? Yeah.
No, but what is this?
But
It's not like the Safari Club, which is a CIA thing, or is it?
no, the Explorers Club is based. I used to know if somebody was the president of it. Sadly, he went to prison for a
Oh,
serious crime.
oh
But
boy. They want you to
the
donate.
Explorers Club, old fancy. There may be various of them, but the one in New York has been around for a long time, and that was for legitimate explorers. It's a building, clubhouse. It's in East 70th Street or something.
Yeah, 46 East 70th Street. Oh, look, and their phone number is 8383. So they got the 88 for Hitler and the 33 in there. Amazing.
But Explorers Club, I've been there a number of times, and it's, as I said, I knew the president of it. He was a decent guy. He got into some serious trouble and went to jail for it. Unlike Biden, unlike Obama, unlike Clinton,
Too
unlike
big
Bush.
to jail.
Huh?
Too big to jail.
Well, somebody ought to do a poster like that. Oh, the art department just did it. Well done.
Thank you.
Well
So,
done.
Charles, we're going to, in just about 4 minutes, make our way over to the First Amendment Forum. People are going to be able to join us there on odyssey.com/@crowdsourcethetruth, crowdsourcethetruth.substack.com, and subscribestar.com, and patreon.com/crowdsourcethetruth. Charles, not to distract you from the main, news of the day, but Library Inc. got sued by the SEC and they lost. Library Inc. is the company that basically creates the blockchain that runs Odyssey, and they lost the lawsuit. But yet I've been communicating with the people at Odyssey, and they said it'll be a few months while they decide, or figure out rather, what's going to happen. So perhaps the video platform will live on, even though the company that previously owned it. I mean, how does something like that work, Charles? If something gets put out of business by the SEC, but the company has some asset of value, won't they sell it to someone or something like that?
I'd have to see the SEC order, but yes, I think that's probably what they try to do. But I'm not really intimately familiar with these details, and it's a pity, because wasn't Odyssey your preferred
Indeed,
platform?
and it remains that. And like I'm saying, it seems like it might continue. For now, certainly it carries on. And people who are Crowdsource the Truth subscribers on odyssey.com/@crowdsourcethetruth are still enjoying sponsor exclusive content on there. They're going to be able to join us in just 2 minutes on the sponsor exclusive First Amendment Forum, but we'll have to see. I mean, it seems to me the platform, the capabilities of the software, someone's going to want to buy that and take it over. The SEC has seized it essentially by suing this company and saying, hey, the blockchain, cryptocurrency aspect of this is somehow, dealing in securities or whatever. It doesn't have anything to do with the video part of it, but I get the impression that they're going to sell the video platform to somebody.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Good.
So we'll be back in 5 minutes. We got another minute here, Charles. Anything you want to say just in closing here on YouTube?
Well, yes, I think that I would continue to say that I would stay far away from any group of more than, say, 3 people in these major cities. I would be, not going out if you can until, say, 8 in the morning, and I'd be home by 6. I see this situation getting desperately dangerous.
Yeah.
Both financially and geopolitically. And I think, particularly places like New York and the bigger cities, there are too many crazy hotheads running around who might be incited to do grave damage to people personally. So I'd just really be very careful.
It's good advice, Charles. And, I've been seeing videos from some of the individuals who I've previously identified as being active and mixed among the NYPD, even wearing the NYPD color of the day. They seem to be Israeli individuals, and I'm just very curious as to what they might be doing, intermixing with the NYPD so frequently, particularly with everything that's going on. Stay with us, everybody. We'll be back in 5 minutes for the sponsor exclusive First Amendment Forum. Join us for that. We'll be